Hi, Gay DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So today I am taking a horse out that we are getting tuned back up because he's had some time off, and so you'll get to see what a horse is like when it hasn't been out in a while. And then I'm just going to talk about the things to expect if a horse is out of shape, so you know what's normal. So this is Trooper, Kentucky mountain horse, very sweet, and I forget how old he is now. 15 or 16, one of those, I forget. So this is my first time taking him out on the trail here. I've just been working him in the arena and working him over poles for a couple of weeks, so he might object when we go to leave, and I don't know how much the previous owner rode him alone, and of course that's what I'm doing, I'm going alone. So I'm prepared. I have a stick to help me to get him out if we need to, and once we get down this hill I'm going to start walking out a little forward. Now the things I would expect from a horse that's out of shape is, one, he might be looky because he hasn't been out in a while, even though he was a good trail horse before. That's normal. Sometimes they're a little spooky, and this is what we do as trainers. We're the ones who get on them and get them used to this stuff again, because everybody thinks, oh, they could get a deal, they get a horse that hasn't been ridden, it's out of pasture. It's not an easy job, but of course you can do that. It's just you don't know what to expect when they go out, and even if they were a great trail horse 10 years ago, doesn't mean they're going to be one today, okay? Because we all forget, horses forget, it comes back in time, but you got to work through some stuff that might be a little annoying. So with this guy, we're going to have to go past all these horses. There's a mule on my left that who knows if he sees those horses in the trees. So one's coming out, he does see it, I can see. Nope, there's a nice older quarter horse, somebody wants one. All right, so we're going to try and walk a little bit forward. So he's getting back into condition. So the things I noticed when I first took him in the arena is some of the stuff he forgot. That's normal. It did come back. Sorry. Like I say, it's always windy. So it did come back, and he does remember this stuff, so that's just going to take practice. When they're out of shape, some of these gaited horses will be very wobbly. So if it's a more flexible one, and we know that Tennessee walking horses, some of them, because of the way they're bred, not all of them, the heritage ones aren't as much, but the performance bred ones, some of them are hyper flexible. So if any horse has some of that breeding in them, which any of them can, if you feel they're kind of flexible and lanky, those can feel a little bit more wobbly in the beginning, so everybody thinks something's wrong with them. And a lot of times it's not, it's just they're out of shape. You know, even if you bought this at an auction or on sale, it doesn't mean the people didn't lie. They could have pulled the horse out of pasture. Okay, I don't know if this was recording or not, but we left the barn. Of course, I stopped to fix the camera right by the turn we have to take to leave home. So let me get through this, and then I'm going to go back to talking to you. So I'm going to sit back, I'm going to push him. You never know what's around the corner. He did good leaving the barn. I gave him just one little tap. Okay. So I don't know what this recorded or not, so he was out of condition, hasn't been worked in a year or something, and so we're just going to see how it goes. I've been working him in the arena, and that's gone pretty well. He's remembering stuff, although he forgot some of it. I have the scarecrows up here, so he's kind of like wobbling, like, are you sure you want me to go past this? And Trooper used to be very brave, but anytime a horse has had time off, you know what can happen? They can forget, just like we forget our jobs. So my job is to get them out here, expose them, get them start back in condition so the next person can keep it going. You know, if we do all the work, oh boy. So you can see he didn't do anything goofy. You know, to get them completely in shape and everything else, we might have them a year and then they cost too much for everybody. So I always try to tell you what they need to be done and what you should work on, and maybe they are good to go, but some of them aren't, and that's how we keep them cheaper, is we let you finish it because we think, you know, at this point they should be able to do it. So I'm just making him walk up the hill. I'm not going very fast because he's out of shape. I am going to push him so he's not, because he will tend to go quarter horse slow, going up steps right here. That's good. He didn't trip on them because some out of shape horses trip. But he did very good. But you want to engage him, push him forward, make him drive up that hill so they make their hindquarters stronger in time, okay? And I never stop to give them a break until I get past all these stairs, because some of them, if you stop right here and they're not used to going out, they spin around and try to take you right back home. So it's best we get up in the woods and then we take a break up there. So as I was saying, which I don't know if it videotaped it, some of these horses have some walking horse in them. When you have a gaited horse and you don't know, like it's grade, there's no papers, or even if it is papered, you can look back in the lines, and sometimes if they're a little lanky and hyper flexible, it's because they have some walking horse in them. Now, not all walking horses are like that. It's more the performance bred ones, because they want them reaching way up underneath themselves, and that's what they found, you know, got it over time. So they tend to be more flexible versus the old time, you know, walking horses or heritage bred ones that, you know, aren't as flexible, and they're usually not as pacey either, just so you know. Okay, so let's stop for a minute, give Trooper a break, and we'll see if he tries to run home.
Because lots of horses try to do that when I stop, Trooper.
Good boy. Okay, so when these horses are out of shape, and you might have got one off an auction or sale thing, and you think they're in shape, let me just tell you what some of them do so you know. So one, they can be trippy. It's just because they're out of shape, they don't have any muscle tone, they've lost some of their balance, maybe they're older. So just with work and poles and you riding them correctly and them practicing in the arena and figuring out how to use their feet again, it all comes back, okay? But if you're trying to do that on trail with you on their back, that's much harder. So I lunge them all over poles in the beginning and try to make sure they know where their feet are. That pole work also helps their stifles, because when they're out of shape, of course, their stifle muscles are weak because they haven't been using their hindquarters unless they've been on hills in their turnout, okay? So if their stifles are giving out on the trail or in the arena, I don't worry about it. I just rehab it. I do different exercises and programs to make those stifles stronger. A lot of the horses can be wobbly. In other words, they don't travel in a straight line very well because they're flexible, and now they're not engaging themselves because they don't have the muscle tone to do so. So they kind of feel wobbly or kind of wonky. And that's when a lot of people think they're neurologic, because they're wobbling around. So no, some are, sure, I'm sure they are. But most of them, it's just a strengthening program, okay? So we just went over a route. He didn't trip over that either, so he's doing really well. Now, if he gets trippy on the way home, that wouldn't worry me either. You know why? Because if he's good all the way out and he starts tripping on the way home, common sense should tell you your horse is tired. He's dragging his feet more. That's why he's tripping, okay? Something's wrong. They don't just trip one direction. They're going to trip out and they're going to trip back, okay? So that would be normal, to have them be wobbly, to have them be kind of uncoordinated, that their stifles give out, and that they're a little trippy, okay? Because some of these horses don't lift their feet real high because it gives them more endurance, and it's bred into some of them. So you got to get them back in shape. That's why I tell people, use those poles, do it for a whole year, or a couple of years, till they're really sure-footed, at least a couple of times a week, and that will help get you there. Okay, I would love to do it for everybody, but I don't live by a lot of you. And so you got to come up with the program and realize the horse is out of shape, and so you have to rehab it. So that might mean one day I lunge it over poles, you know, for 5 minutes each direction, and I might trot it over the poles, and after that I might flat walk or running walk over the poles. Then the next day I might go in there and lunge it, and I trot it to make sure it's, you know, sounding okay, and I might just trot it for a while because that's going to increase its abdomen strength and its back muscles, and I might do that 5 minutes each direction without the poles, and then I take the horse on trail. That's what I did with him today, okay? It lets you see by lunging that your horse is sound, that he's doing okay, he still knows where his feet are. Now we're going downhill. Now I'm trying not to help him much, but I am balanced. So if you're unbalanced and the horse is out of shape, you could knock it off its feet pretty easily. Because carrying something on your back when you're out of shape is extremely difficult. Just try it. Try putting a backpack on you that weighs at least 50 pounds and walk around with it, and then every once in a while have somebody walk up and smack your backpack so it throws you off balance and see how you do. Because a lot of people are like, oh, this horse is neurologic, yet they're up there kicking their feet. Where did he come from? It's a dead rat or something. Somebody dropped him. Somebody's coming back for it. Hopefully it's gone by the time we get back. So that's a good thing about talking to camera. All the animals start to hear you. But they got to get back in shape. And so the same thing, if you're out of shape, you're not going to be able to hold something as strong. You're not going to be as balanced or sure-footed. But for some reason, people think horses can just magically do those things. They can in the wild because they're in shape. They walk, 17 to 30 miles per day. But the horses stuck in their stalls, paddocks, or even pastures usually are not walking that far, although the ones in pasture walk the farthest out of all of them, okay? But if you're just turning your horse out once a day for an hour, most likely it is going to get out of shape without you doing some kind of rehab program with it. So you do the poles the one day, the next day we lunged and we did a trail ride, then the next day I might lunge them over poles for 5 minutes, and then I do my arena routine. And then the day after that, I might go to, again, lunging but no poles, and do another type of trail ride. So if this one has hills, then the next time I trail ride, I might try to just keep it flat. And so you're trying to give them time for recovery of their muscles as well. It's not like you want to take them out on a 6-hour trail ride, which a lot of people do, and go, well, he's fixed now, let's sell him tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, okay, great idea. So you don't want to do that. You want to get your horse strong and over time push it. Now there he stubbed his foot. He caught himself very well. So again, I think he's just out of shape and he's just got to get himself together again. So if he goes slow through here, you'll see I'm kind of dropping the reins so he can look, and then I'm going to shorten back up. But you try to, anywhere it's narrow, you try to stay very still, because a lot of you are moving around talking to your friends, not even paying attention on how hard it is for the horse to go through those things, and you're making it harder. And then I love this, when somebody's moving all around and the horse trips and falls on the side in the narrow thing, and they go, oh, you think something's wrong with them? And I go, no, but something's really wrong with its owner, because you're the one who caused it to trip. So when you're going through hard things, up and down hard things, you're trying to stay as still as you can and not throw off that horse's balance. And you got to balance yourself well. So you got to do exercises, because as we get older, our strength goes away very fast, and so does our balance. Every year over 60, you're losing stuff. So you either keep it up and keep it, or you get it back by working twice as hard, or you don't do any of it, and over time, you're going to lose your balance, you're going to fall off more, you're going to lose your strength, not be able to get on as well. So you want to keep riding, you got to keep working to do this. Right? It's not all about the horse. Everybody thinks it's just the horse and you get up there and sit there and they carry you. No. Both of you need to be in shape. Both of you need to practice scenarios. You need to make sure they're trained well in the arena, practice those things out on trail, so when you need them, you can do them and it's not a surprise for you or the horse. And then you're more likely to stay on and make the right decisions. So he sped up a little bit there, and I just squeezed and relaxed on my reins to get him back into my speed. Now one of these feather things have fallen on the ground, so we're going to step over it or hit it, and that could scare him, because sometimes they move when they do that, but he didn't care. So far, for not being ridden for a year, he's gone out on his own. He's just a little wobbly going down this hill, but it's deep right here, and then there's sides, so we're just going to go very slow, and I'm just half halting and trying to keep his head straight, but if he wants to lower it, I will let him so he can see better. But if I'm letting him look around as he's walking through that, sure, he's going to put his head one way and his feet another and smack into the side. So keep their heads straight during those things, but you can let them lower it. All right, now we're going uphill. Now when they're out of shape, it's hard on them to walk up the hill. So if he starts going faster, for now I'm going to let him, because again, I'm not trying to make this real hard on him. Good boy. So that's his little canter. And I've known this horse since he was 3 or 4 years old, because I put some training on him back there for the owner. And now she's selling him because she's not riding anymore. So we taught him how to canter. He used to just trot. We taught him how to gait. And he's a very smooth, fun horse, okay? His only issue is just getting back in shape. But you see he's being good. But if I just rode out here and dropped my reins, he's going to look all over the place. He's not going to feel I'm up here. And if something happens, he's going to be like, she's checked out, so I'm checking out. Off I go. So in the beginning, till they're back in the mode and you're back in the mode, short reins, paying attention, keep the hands wide. So if he starts looking off, you can just pull out to the side. You can pull back, but that sometimes will slow them down. And so if I don't want them to slow down, I kind of might just take it out to the side quickly to straighten them. So how long does it take a horse to get back in shape? Well, just like people, it's usually 6 to 8 weeks to build muscles, and you're not done building because you got to build a lot of muscles back up. So I would say with conditioning, see there, he got a little unbalanced. Not bad, but he's also on rocks, and even though he has shoes on, that can hit the soles and make them tender. So anytime you're on big rocks like this, you sit back, and if they're trippy or goofy, but on the dirt they're fine, don't worry about it. It's the rocks. And you can always, if your horse keeps having problems, either put pads on under the shoes or switch to boots, and there's extra cushions you can put in your boots to help protect their soles more, because some horses just have sensitive soles. But you talk to your vet and they'll help you figure out what is best. So I looked around a little bit there and pushing him. Now, if I didn't push him, he'd probably stop or go really slow. So when you start in the beginning, I'm just alternating my legs, pushing, and I got my stick that I can wave. I've not even touched him with it, but I can wave it if I need to help him to know to keep going. So far, I think he's doing fantastic. I didn't know how he was going to handle the hills, but he's actually doing very well. But I forgot, how long does it take? So 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to keep increasing their muscles. I think it takes most of these horses 3 to 6 months to get back in shape, okay? Enough that they're balanced, they can control their feet, they're not trippy anymore, their stifles aren't giving out. And you heard me, 3 to 6 months. Now, with any of your horses that you laid them up for the winter, because not all of you live in California, it takes time to condition and get them back. And every year you might start over like this. You're like, he's wobbly, he's trippy, his stifles are giving out, all this stuff. And it's just because they're out of shape. Start them on the ground if you can. Start with the lunging and the poles. If you have a place in your barn, you can even walk them back and forth over poles. Do that all winter long, because it will help keep them in shape, and it gives them something to do. Do groundwork, do exercises in their stall, do exercises anywhere to keep their mind going and their body going, okay? It does not need to be a big area. You can do the sending exercise. You can back up to turn on the haunches. Even from the ground you can do those, which are called a rollback. There's so much groundwork you can do. Work on your side pass, all of those things. Now the car is going to come up here with the tarp, so we'll see how he does. So he's looking at it. So my reins are short, but I'm letting him look, just so you can see what he does, if he does do something bad or not. But he's not doing anything so far except staring at it. Now I'm pushing him because he's a little like, I don't know about this, Gaye. And I go, hey, Trooper, why don't we stop and take a look? Some horses I let look, others I don't. Depends on the horse's temperament. If it's a real spook, sometimes this will scare them more. And you just got to push them by it and keep their head looking off the other direction, like to the right. Some horses, like Trooper, he's looking at it and he's being calm. So I'm like, this one's probably okay. So they turn their head side to side to look. My hands stay kind of on my reins short, and then when they do something like that, like he turned like let's go home, I'm like, well, apparently it's time to go more forward. Now he might get up here again. Yep, just like that, he stopped again. Now we're not going to do this forever, but we are going to do this for a couple of weeks to build his confidence back up, and then in time we're just going to push him by stuff. But that's not the first day as a Trooper. He's like, no, give us a chance, people. So you let them look, but you're prepared to help them. And then when I think they're not looking anymore, that's when I push with my legs and ask them to go further. And then when you go by the object, you sit back and be ready. And I might wiggle the bit. See him jump a little bit there, but I wiggle the bit and try to distract him, because we know the bag's going to move right when you go by. It's like when you go by the turkey hawks. And the turkey hawks always take off right when you go by. You're like, thanks, turkey vultures, whatever they are, turkey hawks, turkey vultures. All right, so he's otherwise not spooking at a darn thing, so he's quite good. And I'm taking him on another ride this week to Wilder to see a bunch of bikes, and we'll see how that goes for him. Again, he used to be good with bikes. I know that. He was on a mountain I'm aware of that has tons of bikes, so he should be fine. But again, sometimes it takes some rides to get their brain back, and that's just fine. That is normal. So why am I telling you all these things? Well, in case you brought a horse out of pasture, so you know not to push it too hard and to take your time, or if the horse has been sitting for a bit, or if you got a horse off the internet and it shows up and it's like this, you'll be like, maybe something's wrong with it, maybe nothing's wrong with it, maybe it's just out of shape, and they did exactly what Gaye said. They pulled it out of pasture, made it look pretty, and they just sold it to me and made a whole bunch of money, because that's possible. All right, so he's pretty good, so I'm going to let him eat some grass for a minute so he gets a break, and then I'll turn you back. All right, so he did good. He's not acting barn sour or anything like that, which is good since he hasn't been out much. He's walking just a tiny bit faster now that we're heading back, and this is an out and back trail, which is the hardest for horses. Loops are much easier. They don't get us upset, but sometimes you go out and back and you turn to go back and they turn into a fireball, and you got your work cut out for you. So you can watch the other videos. I have lots of barn sour videos, or buddy sour. All right, so he's doing good. He's walking a little faster. This is more towards a little bit of a flat walk. Now you can do all your arena stuff on the trail. You can leg yield them like this. So we're pushing them over and then we push them back. That's good stuff to do when your horse is distracted, is do some of your arena work. You get it out of the way and you get your horse's attention back, okay? But you'll see my reins are still short. I am here to support this horse, not to scare him. I'm here to get his confidence back. These are not quarter horses. Many of them are kind of wobbly or flexible, so it's best to have the rein short, more like an English rein or a dressage rein in the beginning, and wait until they're rehabbed, they're behaving well, they're not being goofy, and you understand your horse, you're used to it before you start putting it on a looser rein. And don't feel bad, because some people feel like I shouldn't touch their mouth. That's how you communicate with them. You're not supposed to be pulling on it the whole time. You should just have a light contact so the horse feels you and you feel them, so you can communicate. All right, so going home, I'm having a half halt some. I'm squeezing and relaxing, but again, we're all by ourselves, first trail ride out, so not surprised. A lot of times they will head home fast because, again, who doesn't want to get back to their house? So again, that's why I tie them all up and work them so they learn in time not to rush home. Now it might be different if you've trailered out, but if they are rushing back to the trailer, you do the same thing. When you get back to that trailer, just ride around your trailer 10-20 minutes. Give them lots of miserable exercises to do. You could back around your trailer. Don't make them rear up. So you know, you have to know how much you can push your horse, and give them lots of work to do. And then you can even tighten up the saddle, let them sit there for 10 minutes while you guys have lunch. Then you can untack them and load them up and then go home. But anywhere they're rushing to, any magnet, work on that magnet and make it not such a fun place to be. A lot of people do stuff and they don't do it hard enough. They don't do it enough times in a row, and that's why your problems keep staying. You got to set up time and be like, that's what I'm going to work on, because that's what his problem is, and I don't want to work on it the next 5 years. So for the next couple weeks, that's all I'm going to do, like getting on and off. Your horse won't back up, just work on the backup for a couple of weeks. Don't go on the trail, and fix all the stuff at home and then fix it on the trail. It's much easier than you just going out on the trail while your friends are running away and you're trying to teach your horse something. Okay, so he's still a little fast. He's gaining well. but I'm sliding the bit a little bit because he's going faster. Now you don't want to just hold them back when they're fast, because if you just hold them, that can make them rear up or get much worse. Okay? So you just give and take, and then try to give them jobs to do, like the serpentine and lots of things to do until they calm back down. Most of the time when they're with another horse, they won't rush as much versus when they're alone until they get, you know, their confidence back. So the first couple rides, even couple weeks, might not be fun at all. But again, when they're cheaper and they're out of shape, you know, you're going to have stuff to work on. You just know that's it. And in time, it'll be fantastic. But you got to put the time in, and you can't complain, because this is what you got, you know. Say you only have a couple of $1,000 and you're going to buy a horse. You buy the safest one you can find. Doesn't matter if it has minor medical problems. You get that one. I know you're just going to have to work on stuff to help it and get it in shape. But, you know, when horses are cheap, or, you know, you're getting it free from somebody, you just got to work on what you got. But be careful. He's getting a little fast, so you'll see him throwing his head once in a while, because I'm half halting, then I'm alternating my half halts, and he's getting a little mad, and I'm like, you're unbalanced, and I don't want you to drop me on the trail, so I'm going to help you, and you just got to tolerate it until you get better. Okay? So now I'm releasing more. But you do what you got to do. Even if that horse is mad, you got to keep both of you safe. And the horse might be telling you, I'm balanced, let's run down the hill, and you let them do it, and they trip and fall, and you get launched, and you're like, guess he wasn't. No. So take your time. So here comes the feather thing again. So you always be prepared. You never know. Things get caught on their feet, like vines or things like that, and some horses don't care. They've had it happen, or it just doesn't bother them. And other horses, so this is very important if you get a new horse, other horses will be very upset. And even though your old horse was fine, you're on a new one, and his foot gets caught in a vine, he starts having a conniption fit. He's not used to it. It's not like he's trying to kill you or anything. But then you might have to work on putting things around his feet and ropes around his feet and having him dragging things in the arena, okay? Because then you found out, oh, he doesn't like that. It's better to work on that than have another vine get across his feet and you have a major problem because you didn't work on anything. Work on the problems. You don't have to work on the things they do good. If they gait well, you don't have to work on their gait as much. Okay, you work on the things like he doesn't back up well, so work on that. He doesn't do a turn on the forehand well, so work on that. Spend your time on the things they don't do well. That's why I'm always telling everybody, you know, if the horse doesn't go well to the right, which many of them don't, you work more to the right than to the left, because the left's already good. Use your time wisely. All right, so he's doing good, so we'll put you back on in a minute. Okay, so we went down the stairs. We're heading back towards the barn. And he's doing good, but I'm going to tell you some other things. So what other things is Trooper doing since he's out of shape? One, he's pulling. When he gets going a little fast or he feels unsteady, and I try to slow him down or stop him, sometimes he pulls back. What do? I use my strength, so I just lean back and I make him go all the way to a stop. And if he was really pulling and I have room, as long as I feel the horse isn't going to rear up, I stop and back him up and I stand there for a minute. Because I'm telling him, no, don't do that. Do not drag us down this hill. You want to teach your horses to go downhill slow with their hindquarters underneath of them, especially if it's one, you know, that has a big stride, or maybe it doesn't have the best balance, or, you know, it's trippy. You make them go down really slow to help keep you safe. Don't let them drag and pull you down the hill. If you can't do it from up in the saddle, those are the scarecrows, Trooper. He's like, they didn't look like that the other direction. No, because that was your other eye. Things look different out of different eyes. So if you can't do it from up in the saddle, then you hand walk them on the trail, but carry a stick to protect your space, so if they start going fast, you can back them up, and then you can use, so there he just spooked, so you see how he spooked, but I held him, because that's a difference when horses spook, and someone who knows how to ride knows how to block it versus somebody just lets them do whatever they want and run home. So you got to block it, hold them, tell the horse what to do. You're like, hold it together, I'll help you get by it, and then we'll get closer to home. Don't worry about it, but you got to help them. So if they're pulling on me, I will pull back, and then I release, pull back and release. So he's pulling right now, or I might do something like this. So I just backed him up. We are going downhill, and I just backed him back up the hill. So I stop, back up. I make it harder. And what that tells him is, like, if you pull on me, I'll make your job even harder than it was. And in time, they stop pulling. Okay? But it's got to be the right timing, the right feel, and all of that as well. Okay? So that's why it's helpful. You know, even me, if I could pay somebody to go put the miles on a horse versus me do it, and they were good, I'd be like, I'm all for it. It'll save me time, frustration. Here's the money. Go do it for me. Thanks. So when you get on it, it's better. But a lot of people, you know, don't want to do that, or they don't want to take it to a trainer to do it. Then you can't complain because you got what you got. And it takes time to do this stuff. And that's what we're always trying to tell people. You know, our trails are different than your trails, and everybody's trails are different. So you're trying to make it similar, but the horses have to get used to stuff. And if you bought a horse from Kentucky or Tennessee, it's not going to be used to California trails. If you bought a horse from California and you go to Kentucky and Tennessee, it's not going to be used to your trails. It's just the way it is. You got to give them time and let them get used to those things. And you can do it hiking on the ground. You can pony the horse until you think it's ready, or you can ride it out there if you're a good rider and you have good friends to help you. But otherwise, I tell people, if you can't do those things, it's better to find a horse in your own area, because it'll already be used to those things. But yes, you got to test it and make sure it's a good one. Okay? All right, so we're back at the barn. So now we're going to walk around the barn. You see a big blown tarp he don't care about. You see now he's slow. He's like, can we eat grass? I go, nope, not at the barn. No grass here. Because we're not trying to make being home a good place. We're making it out at the trail. That's why I grazed him out there. Now he's looking at the hay. Remember, things look different to them than us. So we got some kind of board, a blanket on top of the board, hay underneath it, hay on top. We can see it just fine, but that's not what he sees. He sees a monster. And then he's got the tarp blowing behind him at the same time. But Trooper's brain is good enough that, see, when he went for the grass, I'm like, now you're not scared, I know it. But if they want to look at it a bunch of times, I'm fine with that, because it's about, with me, I'm trying to build their confidence up. Okay, you might not be able to do that, but that's what I'm trying to do, is build his confidence up in me. Like, sure, you can take a look. You want to go smell it and eat it? Now, they might touch it and jump. That's usually what happens. See? Now he kicked it. But now he's not afraid. Oh, it's a piece of plastic. That's what it is. So, but that's a good, you know, shows you. He went from being really scared to walking up and kicking it. Now he doesn't care at all. But you have to do it right. You can follow all my stuff and do it completely wrong, scare your horse, and you start blaming me. You're like, you made my horse spookier. I didn't. You did. Okay? Because you did it wrong. Lots of people like to blame other people. And you have to do the things right. We just give you things to follow, you know, and I'm giving all this stuff for free. But I have had people say that. They're like, I did that. It made my horse spookier. And I was like, well, because you did it wrong. You didn't take any lessons. You didn't contact me or anything else. So how do I know how you did it? And now you're mad at me for giving you free information and you did it wrong. People are highly entertaining, and the things they come up with. Horses are easy. They just react to things. They try to do what's right. But people are a whole different story. And that's why horses have problems with people. Okay? They try their hardest, and sometimes their hardest just isn't good enough for that person. Right, Trooper? They expect too much too quickly. So now as we go around the barn, he's looking a little bit. He's like, I've never seen a purple hose before. Now the dogs might get up here and charge the fence. They're being quiet, but you never know when they're going to try to spook the horse I'm on. There's a tarp on the roof. So you see he's veering around things, but for a horse that hasn't been ridden on trail, this is nothing. He hasn't spun, he didn't take off, he didn't try to do anything insane. This is just normal stuff. But you got, a horse like this, I would think most people could work through this, but you never know. So most of the time when I'm riding around the barn or going by new things, it takes the horses about 3 times. So this is our first time around, so that's why I'm going to go around the barn at least 3 times, because it takes them a couple of times going by it to get used to things, and that's how it is on trail. The horse has to get used to the stuff on the trail, so it's got to keep going on those same trails, getting used to the stuff, and then they get good at it, and then you can go on new trails. Or if you're always on new trails, just know that the horse didn't get used to any of the stuff because you weren't here before, so that's okay. Now, you just see him throw his head, that was a B. So sometimes I'm very aware of what's going on. I'm watching the horse, I'm watching the surroundings around me, but some people aren't, and a horse would throw its head like that from the B, and then you're yanking on it. Okay, so now this is our second time around, so he's looking, but he's not slowing down as much as he did the first time. Okay, you can't pass something once when the horse is scared and then think it's fine with it. You got to do it a bunch of times. Just takes the time it takes, and it takes us much longer than horses. It takes us much longer to learn. It takes us much longer to balance ourselves, and to know half the stuff we're supposed to do up here, it takes us a long time. They are much quicker, so if you're getting mad at your horse, you need to take a big look at yourself, because that's probably where the problem is. Right? It's partnership. It's not just one-sided. So this is our second time. He's not as spooky. What are other things I can tell you? A lot of horses, come in. There's all different shoers out there and farriers with different beliefs on what the gaited horse is supposed to be shod like. We just shoe for the normal angles. But every horse that comes in, when they come in, some of these horses have good shoeing and some have very bad. They're unbalanced. They're in shoes that are too big or too small. Their toes are too long. They got thrush, they got no heels, and all these things that can cause those horses to be trippy or unbalanced. So if you're having problems with a horse tripping or being just unbalanced, you got to make sure they don't have thrush in their feet. Make sure you have a good farrier who will work with you, and you got to make sure that their toes aren't too long, because lots of people like to do that for the gaited horse. But as trail riders, that can make them trippy. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on their foot unevenly. So we're trying to make sure they land heel to toe when they're walking, except when they flat walk, their foot lands flat. But you're trying to make sure they're well supported, and it's always good to take x-rays. If you're having problems, see what's in that foot and see if your farrier is matching the angle of the bones or if they need to do something. And then it lets you see the thickness of the sole and how long that toe really is, because maybe they can take it back further to help you. Okay, so you see he doesn't care that much anymore, and he was kind of spooky when we started going around that. So that's the whole thing, get to your trail rides early, work your horse, get them used to all those things, so once you end up going with your friends, they're not having the problems anymore. So I always like riding around the barn. There's always new stuff, gets them used to everything. And you want your horse to know you can ride it anywhere. You might ride in the barn, you might ride in a stall, you might ride in pasture. There's nowhere safe. So don't think of running to any of those places, because I'll just ride you and it doesn't bother me. Once you start changing your attitude and doing things like that, your horse gets so much better behaved. Because they're like, well, it doesn't matter if I run in my stall. She makes it worse. It's actually even scarier in there when she rides me, because it's slippery, because I got those mats. I mean, you got to be careful, but you just got to let them know there's nowhere to go. And then, of course, reward them when they're good. Treat them well, but you got to show them the rules. Okay, so we're going to give him a break right here because he's being good, and this is our third time around, and then we're going to go the other way 3 times around, and then old Trooper here is going to get tied up for a while. All right, I hope that helps you guys with new horses or out of shape, or anybody who just needed something to listen to when they fall asleep. Remember to like and subscribe.